Okay, so get ready for a wild one today. We're gonna do a deep dive on well, it's kind of like a thought experiment.
Oh,
It's gladiators versus the U.S. Army.
wow.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical battle, of course.
Yeah.
You know, those Roman gladiators fighting for their lives in the arena, all those different styles, the weapons. How would they hold up against a modern army?
That is a fascinating matchup. I mean, you've got to consider how different warfare is now. Gladiators, they were fighting for survival, sometimes literally for their freedom. Talk about intensity.
For sure. And you got to think about the variety, like you've got the Rotarius with his bet and trident,
Right.
and then the Murmillo, heavily armored, up close and personal. It makes you wonder if any of those skills would, even translate to a modern battlefield.
Yeah, good point. I mean, and that's not going to stop a bullet, obviously. But when you think about it, some of those underlying principles, like using your opponent's strength against them or deception, those are still relevant in modern warfare, for sure. Look at psychological warfare, for example, or cyber attacks. They're all about finding and exploiting vulnerabilities. It's like, in a way, a Rotarius trying to trip up a heavily armored opponent using their weight against them.
Huh, that's a really good point. It's easy to get caught up in just thinking about who would win a straight up fight. But this goes deeper than that, right?
Definitely.
I mean, gladiators were often slaves or prisoners of war, right? They were fighting for survival, for glory, for maybe even a chance at freedom.
Right.
But a modern soldier,
Yeah.
what motivates them? I mean, it's a totally different ballgame.
Right, completely different. Today, you're talking about nation states, soldiers fighting for an ideology, national interest, and the whole structure, the command structure, the technology, the sheer scale of modern warfare. It's just on another level.
Yeah, and the psychological impact too. Just think about the constant threat of drone strikes.
Yeah.
How impersonal and detached modern warfare has become. It's a world away from that visceral hand-to-hand combat of the arena. But okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second, right? Let's just say, hypothetically, a gladiator somehow, some way, gets past all the modern tech, the guns and everything, and ends up face to face with a soldier, in close quarters. Wouldn't their ferocity, their training in hand-to-hand combat, give them like a little bit of an edge?
I see what you're saying. It is tempting to think that, yeah. And maybe in certain situations they could have a slight advantage, but we've got to remember, modern soldiers are trained in close combat too.
Right.
Plus, they've got protective gear, they've got advanced weapons, and this is key. They're trained to work together as a unit. They rely on tactics, communication, something a gladiator fighting for their own survival wouldn't necessarily be used to.
Yeah, good point. I'm thinking about this whole clash of eras. Really gets you thinking about how much the reasons for fighting have changed over time,
Right.
Gladiators, like we were saying, driven by desperation, by that immediate threat to their own lives.
Exactly. And that actually brings up another really important difference we haven't touched on yet. Armor. A gladiator's armor, yeah, it was impressive for its time, but it was designed to protect against swords and spears, right?
Mm-hmm.
Modern body armor, though, it's built to stop bullets, shrapnel. It's a physical representation of how much technology has transformed the very nature of warfare.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay, I think it's safe to say the U.S. Army would definitely win in this hypothetical battle.
Safe bet, yeah.
But, thinking about it, it's more than just a fun what if, right?
Oh, for sure.
It gets you thinking about how warfare has evolved, how technology has played a role, and even just the reasons behind why people fight have shifted over time.
Yeah, exactly. And it raises some interesting questions about the future of warfare, too. I mean, will we see a kind of return to more individualistic fighting styles, or will technology just keep pushing us towards increasingly remote and impersonal forms of conflict?
Good question. Something to think about. As always, keep diving.
Happy diving!
See ya.
Bye!